Hello and welcome to Halloween month. This time we're doing a scary zombie pumpkin. Now as usual I start with my 2 coats of acrylic paint. I'm using Cad Orange here and any red will do for the eyes, and Sienna Brown for his little stem that he comes on his head that comes off the vine. And behind his teeth is just black, and I don't really paint his teeth just yet because his teeth will get all the pan pastels all over it and change colour, so I do his teeth almost last. But then I realised after I put the blood and that all over his teeth I didn't even really need to do his teeth. And now onto the pan pastels, and I just do the similar colour that I did of the paint. So this is just the orange pan pastel, and I'll also use the burnt sienna pastel on his stem. And this is just the burnt sienna on his stem. After spraying the fixative, I just did another layer of exactly what I just did, the orange and the burnt sienna. And just using that permanent red to go over his eyes. And now I'm going over all his creases with the orange extra dark. I also add the orange extra dark where there would be shadows on him, so where his lip is hanging down there's going to be shadows, and it's going to be darker on the underneath as well. I've just grabbed my really tiny paintbrush here because the creases here are small, and I'm still using the orange extra dark. And I just do a layer of the orange over the orange extra dark in order to blend it in. So he's got these little creases in his stem, so I just get the burnt sienna extra dark and start using my small paintbrush and going in the little creases with the extra dark. I decided to grab some black and put a little bit of black inside those creases in the stem as well, and I also go on his pupils in his eyes. And I've just slowed this down so you can see what I'm doing. I've got the orange tint and I'm just doing some of the highlights on his stem. And now getting the orange extra dark again and going over his creases. And then I grabbed the orange and blend it all in together. And this is the natural grey shade that I'm just putting in his mouth where the black is, because I don't really want it black. I want it kind of grey and black. And I also put some inside his nostril there where it's going to be highlighted, because it's not all going to be black and dark. There's going to be some light in his nostril hole. So I get the black here and put the shadows on the bottom of the teeth and in between the teeth. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but teeth are not usually white. Well, some people have really white, shiny teeth, but teeth have shadow on the sides, so you need to put the shadow on the sides and the black in between the teeth. Otherwise, they look very flat. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I put some more black on the stem. And I've sped this one up again because I'm just doing the exact same as what I've done before, getting the orange extra dark and going over his creases there. And this is just another layer of the orange. And now I've got a black watercolor pencil and I'm just drawing some circles in between his eyes and around his cheeks just to make him look a little scarier, because I found a reference photo of a pumpkin that I thought looked scary and he had these little circles in between his eyes. And with that same black watercolor pencil, I'm just drawing some lines in his eyes to make him look even more scary. And the black circles that I just drew in between his eyes, I'm now going to colour in with the orange tint pastel. I just draw some more black circles around the top of his lip and then fill that in with orange tint as well. And then once I've done that, I just go over the other ones again with the orange tint just to make them a little bit more brighter. And this is where I decided to go over the teeth with white paint. I sometimes do things spontaneously, and after putting some pastel on them I decided I didn't like it, so I went over it with white paint. And now I've got that grey again, and I'm just going over the highlights on his gums. I use the Paynes Grey pastel because it's a little bit lighter, and I'm just doing the highlights on his gums and in his nostrils. And I just do some shading on the sides of his teeth to make them not so flat looking. And using the black pencil again to draw the lines in the eyes and go over absolutely everything that I've already done. That's the whole thing. Once you've got it in, you just got to keep doing layers. So I've sped this one up because it's just the orange extra dark in the shadows, the burnt sienna extra dark in his stem shadow, and I'm just going over what I just did before. And after that fixative layer, I'm just doing the exact same thing that I just did before. The orange all over his body, the orange extra dark in the creases, the orange tint on his dots, the black and grey in his mouth and the grey around his teeth, some red in his eyes, the black on his pupil, just exactly what we've just done. Just going over his eyes again and trying to put in a little bit of shadow on the edge of his eyes. So I'm just using the black watercolour pencil to go over the lines again, and I also add a little bit of black around the very edge of the eyes to give the shadow. Just going over the black lines again with the black watercolour pencil on his eyes, and then I get some white acrylic paint and put some dots on the front of his teeth and on a few of the dots that I think will have highlights on his face. So now I get the water texture gel and the transparent Venetian Red acrylic paint, and I mix it together and I make the gooey blood that I put in his mouth. Now you don't have to do this part, but I realised after I did this that I really didn't need to do his teeth, but I actually do like having all the parts done, and then when I need to cover it up with blood or whatever, at least I know if some parts show through, they're going to look good. And here I just wanted to make some gooey drippy bits on his mouth, so I tried to, because the texture gel is pretty good, so you can mold it, sort of. So I also put UV resin on his eyes and a little bit on parts of the blood just to make it seem glossy, but it's really hard to get a decent photo or picture when it's so glossy. But anyway, I hope you like it. It's a scary zombie pumpkin thing for Halloween.